Hey, welcome to Friday and welcome to another episode of Find Your Groove. I am so lucky because I have the best guests ever, and today is no exception. This woman has success written all over everything she does, but I do suspect that hasn't always been the case. So we're going to find out about that. I'm so glad you could join me. You can learn more about me and all my amazing guests at lynnbrunette.com. I want to get right in this. My guest is Keisha Rivers Shorty. This woman does amazing things, and she has got a great event that's coming up. So stay tuned. You're going to want to hear about that. She is a strategist, consultant, speaker, author, definitely a motivational speaker. She assists clients to fuel their passion, align with their purpose, and build their legacy by enhancing their knowledge of self, knowledge of strategies, and knowledge of systems. That is a great foundation, those three things. She's the founder and managing consultant of the Cars Group Limited. She specializes in providing personal and professional development services that enable clients to achieve their goals in these three knowledge areas by participating in released and ready workshops and retreats. I love this. Beast Mode Boot Camp. We got to find out about that. Strategy development series and fab outcomes training sessions. She effectively weaves her experience and expertise as a grant writer. She does have a nonprofit, and we're going to dive into that as well and find out about that. An adjunct instructor, former foundation executive director, educator, and administrator into a system of facilitating knowledge acquisition that enables her clients to achieve tangible success. That is what's the word? I'm losing my words this morning. A little bit of a foggy brain. That is so important, tangible success. And I think that's super important to a lot of people. She is absolutely a gifted speaker, and clients and attendees have remarked at her passion, professionalism, talent, creativity, and ability to communicate that not only educates, but this is so important, it inspires action, because it's action, people, that will keep you motivated and get you to where you want to go, and make things that are possible more probable and therefore doable. And that is so, so important. So I want to get right to it. Keisha, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you sound great. We were talking before the show. You went through like every sickness you could have. So
Yes.
you're all cleansed and cleared, and you sound fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I feel fabulous after being down for 27 days. I'm like a Sprite chicken right now. I'm just like, oh, life is awesome. It's great. It's wonderful. I can breathe.
I
So
know.
it doesn't take a whole lot now.
When we're so sick and we start to feel good, it does feel even better. We just feel so good, just ready to bounce and take on the world.
Yep.
Such a yucky time. I'm looking forward to summer. So you have amazing things going on. You just seem to, your message is really that to help people create the life that they were destined to live.
Yes.
And myself, like a lot of people, I'm sure that comes from somewhere. There's a story there, and that wasn't always the case.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Exactly.
there's a little bit of background on that.
Yes, there always is.
Yes.
I actually went through a number of years where I was always the good girl. I was always the one that I did what people expected of me. I was always the strong one, and the one that people say, "Oh, well, you're going to go in and you're going to do this, or you're going to be this." And so I woke up one day, and while I was working, I was teaching in a public school system. And while I love teaching, I'm an educator by nature. I loved when I could be in my classroom and close the door and work with people. But the life that I had didn't seem like it was me. I was on all these committees. I was, taking classes at night. I was teaching classes. I was, working with my then husband on a business that he was starting. I was filling all of these roles that I felt that everybody else had for me.
Mm.
But I really wasn't connected to what I thought was really me. And so my whole notion of released and ready, and this whole thing of helping people, assisting people with the process of being a creator of their success instead of a victim of their circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
came when at the age of 41, I ended up in the hospital having to have major surgery, and I ended up with three major surgeries in 3.5 weeks. I was in the hospital for 14 days. I almost died, had, massive infections and tubes coming in all these different places and having to go through hours and hours of surgery. Um,
Wow.
and I'm lying on my back and there's tears rolling down the sides of my face. And I'm like, is this all there is?
Ooh,
Because I had
that question.
been, yeah, and I had, relentlessly working. I was always working. I was always, into things. I was always doing things. And by this time at 41, I'd already had my own business for several years. I had a consulting company. I worked with nonprofits and small businesses. And I'm lying here on my back, and the longer I'm sick, the more my business is disappearing.
Yeah.
The more my medical expenses are rising, the
Mm.
lower my savings account is getting.
Yeah.
Um, and I kept saying, all this work I've done, all of these people I've worked with, all of these things I've done because I fit in the molds of what people said, oh, well, you should be a consultant or you should be a writer, or you should do this. I didn't have that sense of, well, you know what? If this is it, then I had a great run. I loved every minute of it. And I kept saying that there was more within me that I hadn't tapped into yet. There was so much more that I was destined to do. I wasn't just meant to pay bills and die,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Um, so my whole journey became, how do I tap into who I am and what I want to be and how I want to be, um, to be able
So
to
had
make
you
sure.
decided when you were in the hospital before you got out, had you already decided, okay, this is it, and started planning, somewhat formulating that the something different?
No, actually, it wasn't until I was released from the hospital, and it actually took me about a good 6 months to recuperate. I mean, I had to, my digestive system was all messed up. I had to learn, how to, I basically was bedridden for about, about 3.5 months. Um, and I was taking up to 32 pills a day, and I
Oh,
had all these side effects and, all of this stuff.
wow.
And so it was like during that time, my eyesight changed because of all the medications and everything. So I couldn't write. I couldn't, be on a computer. So I basically just got a journal and I sat in bed and I wrote. And everything that came to me, all these questions, all these things that I had, thoughts of, and saying, what is it that I really want to do? What are the things that I really want to be? What are the things I really want to explore? And I wasn't just answering the questions for myself, but I was going through the process of, how do you figure it out? Because
Yeah.
I knew that there were people who had the same questions and the same, how do I figure this out?
Yeah.
Because me being an educator, I always want to teach people what I know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I
Yeah.
so I went through this whole thing of, how do you figure out what do you want to be? How do you figure out what is there within you? How do you tap into what is your life supposed to look like? How do you make a determination that this is who I really am? And now this is what that looks like in terms of how my life is going to look to reflect who I really am.
Yeah. You're absolutely right because you having those questions, uh, definitely other people are having those. I always tell people if you're thinking that thought, guaranteed someone else is thinking that thought. Our stories are very similar in spending months on our back thinking, oh my God, what's happening? So it was the same. And I absolutely had the same thought as you. Did you have this thought? Because with me, I couldn't stand or walk. It was just too agonizing to stand. and was away from work for 4 months. I didn't know if I was going to get better. I thought, is this going to be the rest of my life? Did you have that thought, or did you just know have that faith that you would get better? You just didn't know when. Or did you think, wow, this is it. This is my life. I'm popping 32 pills a day and I feel like crap. And
Well, the thing about it is I'm very stubborn.
oh, me too.
Um, and so it was more of a situation where I said, you know what? This can't be all there is to it. I am not going to be the I'm not going to be the statistic. And the doctors were telling me, hey, we're not sure if you're going to be okay. We're not sure if everything is going to work out the way we hoped it would. Um, when your surgeon comes out and tells, my mom, the first thing he said was, I've got people in my church praying for her because I don't know how I'm going to do this. That tells you how difficult it was. And
Uh-huh.
so it was, a lot of people praying for me, a lot of my own prayers, a lot of, I have to believe that this isn't all there is. And I have to believe that I'm going to be able to make it be what I want it to be instead of just sitting here and accepting what it is.
Yeah. So what do you think it was, the pivotal moment that changed the trajectory of your
Um,
life?
you know, the pivotal moment was I had to make a decision. And one of the things I always tell people is, your life basically comes down to making a decision. And I'm not
Oh,
saying make
yes.
a choice because, choices are, hey, there's a buffet. This is out there. That is out there. That is out there. What am I going to pick from? Making a decision is actually you tapping into your creative force to
Yes.
create what it is that you want. So just saying that, oh, well, I'm going to choose to be successful. I'm going to choose to be this, as if, you're saying, well, I can be successful or I can fail.
Yeah.
But if you say, I'm making a decision to be successful, I'm making a decision to have a successful business, I'm making a decision to have a graduate degree, I'm making a decision to be a speaker, I'm making a decision to be happy, then when you make that decision, you have to honor that decision with action. And so making a decision means that you're going to take some actions because you're invested in it. If you're not making a decision, you're not putting any action into it, you're not putting any follow through into it, and therefore you're going to keep repeating the same old things and getting the same old results.
That's right. I think it's the conviction that's
Hmm.
attached to a decision, the difference between decision and a choice.
Yep.
A decision carries conviction with it.
Yes, exactly. And
There's a
that's
power.
when yes, that's when that, you know, this is not just, I don't have to just accept this. I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how yet. I don't have to know all the details yet, but I'm going to make this happen because in my mind, I made a decision. You know what? I don't want to have to be tied to a job. I don't want to have to work. My life is going to be enjoyable. I am going to smile and laugh and have fun and do things that make me happy and bring me enjoyment and me fulfillment. And I always tell people it's not about being selfish because a lot of people, especially women, they look at whatever it is that you're doing. If I'm doing it because I want to do it, then it's being selfish.
Oh, yes. Oh,
In
yes.
fact, it's actually practicing the highest form of self-love
That's right.
because one of the things I posted today, my note to self was, it's your energy, it's your time, it's your effort. So why shouldn't you spend it on things you love?
I think there's a shift a little bit happening. I think we're
Hmm.
seeing it more. So we are seeing that shift, but I mean, we're just such a society, as you say, too, of women that require permission. So
Yes.
some still haven't gotten the permission that they need, whatever that looks like, for them to be able to do that. So I want to know, what was the resistance? Because guaranteed there was resistance for you when things changed and you made that decision. Anything that we change or a different direction we go in, there's resistance, whether it's within or in those around us. So what was the resistance you had to deal with?
I had, resistance within me, of course, because, hey, this is something new. I've
Yeah.
always done things that way, I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know if I want to do this. And, there was resistance from my family. There was resistance from my old clients. There was resistance from everybody because keep in mind, before that, I was everything to everybody else.
Mm,
Whatever you
yeah.
wanted, Keisha had it.
Yeah.
But then when I started saying no, and I wasn't giving an explanation, like I always tell my clients, no is a complete sentence. No, I'm not doing that. No, can you do it? Nope. And
Nope,
when I
doesn't work for
started,
me.
right, and when I started requiring something different in my personal relationships, in my friendships, in my professional relationships, when I started honoring myself and my decision and not taking the leftovers,
Oh,
that's
I
when
like
people are
that.
like, wait, whoa, what do you
Yeah.
mean you come first? Wait, this isn't how we did it before. Wait,
Yeah.
I mean, why do you have to why are you raising your rates? No, I need to, I would have clients that would actually tell me they wouldn't pay my invoice because, oh, we decided to go on a vacation, so therefore we have to put yours on the back burner. You know,
Oh,
yeah, we
at least
decided that,
it's up
I'm going to
front.
buy a car, so, we're going to have to pay you later. And so before it was like, oh, I understand, stuff come up with your family or whatever. And then I would have to scramble behind the scenes and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
And now I don't work like that. You want to work with me? Here's a process. This is what the payment is. This is what the billing is. This is how you get paid. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, why you used to do that before? No.
It's
So
that we
all of
teach
that.
people how to treat us thing.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. And when you've gone through years, now keep in mind, I was 41 when I started the shift, and it took me a good year and a half before I start. So I'm like 43 when I'm doing this shift, and people that have known me, people that have worked with me, old clients, all of them. I mean, they used to call me at all hours of the night. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Wow.
We need boundaries.
Yeah. Boundaries are tough for other people. Absolutely. Absolutely. You do get that resistance from people because yeah, they have been trained to react and treat you a certain way and oh yes, I know that journey. So your book, Be the Creator of Your Success, Not a Victim of Your Circumstances. Where can people get this book and what's the format of the book?
You can actually get it from my website at carsgroup.com, and that's KARS group.com. And it actually it's a very short book. I don't believe in having to write a huge novel. It's like 65 pages or so, 6 by 9 book. And it's actually a strategy guide.
Oh, nice.
And everything that I do, I don't write books just to write books. I don't write stuff just to write stuff. I'm a strategist by nature, which means that whenever I'm doing something, I always look at, okay, what are the takeaways and how can you apply this to your life?
Mm,
So the book has 7 chapters. It starts off with, being the creator of your success and what that means. Then we go through several different areas that I found with working with my clients that they were always having issues with. So one chapter is called The Boogeyman Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Evicting the Element of Fear, because that's a big thing. Before you make any changes, before
oh,
you make
yes.
stretches, it's always all of these fears. Um, the other one is The Message in the Mirror, Self-Talk and the Power of Language, because the dialogue that we use with ourselves and the things that we say to ourselves has a lot to do with whether or not we're going to be successful and we're going to make that decision to shift and whether we're going to actually honor that decision with action. A
Hmm.
lot of times we have no idea how many negative phrases we say to ourselves all the time. A lot of, oh
Absolutely.
gosh, that was so stupid. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. What are you thinking? All of that. And
Yeah.
so, that helps us to put a magnifying glass on it and say, hey, whoa, what am I saying to myself? And that will help you to change what you allow other people to say to you. Um, Deconstruct to reconstruct. This one I love because it's dissecting the vision and laying the path. A lot of people have heard of vision boards, and they do
Yep.
these vision parties where you cut out the
Yeah.
pictures and
Yeah.
you put it on the board. Um, I don't do vision boards because to me, putting a picture up is it's a visual representation of someone else's dream. So where I may have a car or a degree or a house that I put on the vision board, the picture I find may not be exactly the one I want. So therefore, I'm not
Yeah.
focused on exactly what I want. So part of what I do is I have all of my clients do what's called a mind movie of success. And I tell them, hey, imagine yourself, Oprah or the Today Show or 60 Minutes. They are doing a profile on you and they are going to follow you around with a video camera for 24 hours.
Mm,
What's your day in the life look like? What does it start with?
yeah.
Where do you live? What's your car look like? What do you eat for breakfast? What do you wear? Who the people that are around you? What are you doing from sunup to sundown? An entire day. And I have them vividly describe everything and use all five senses. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you touch? What do you taste? All of that. And they write it out in a narrative. And that becomes the script for your life in terms of your vision.
Hmm.
And use that and you keep looking at that and you take each element and you say, okay, what's needed to make that happen? And you keep backtracking. What's needed to make that happen? And you backtrack. Okay, what's needed to make that happen? And you backtrack. And you keep unpacking. It's kind of like going in reverse with the Hansel and Gretel with the little breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
You keep
exactly.
unpacking until you get down to the very last thing. And that is the very first step that you take.
I like that. I like that better than because we also hear about, you know, the whole goal setting and the 5 year plan and all that stuff. I don't know how I want things to be in
Right.
5 years. I'm basing that on something today. So I
Yeah.
like that. I like having that vision because at least you don't know when exactly that's going to be, but the vision is it's much more personal. I like that way better. That's a great way of doing that. I love that.
And doing that, and when you get into those downtimes, you go back and you read it. And because
Yes.
you wrote it and you wrote it in the first person, you're able to, I mean, that is such a motivator because on your darkest day, you pull that out and you look at it and you say, you know what? This is why I'm doing this. This is what I'm striving for.
Yeah.
And then when you go through the breadcrumbs that you've now unpacked from that, and you can just check off, okay,
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, did we lose you, Keisha? Keisha. Oh, I think we might have lost her. Well, that's the way it is when we've got technical problems or we're dealing with Skype for those of you. I'm just gonna, because we're gonna get her back. I know we'll get her back. So I love what she was saying. I think I'm going to adopt that for myself. What do you think? I do vision boards, but I do like that concept of writing it down because it does make it more personal. And when we add another element rather than say just thinking of something, we're thinking about it, we're visualizing it, and we're writing it down. That adds to the probability of success for it. So I think I'm gonna try that. I like what she does. We're working to get Keisha back on the lines, so hang on because I want to find out about this program she has coming up, and it's gonna be fun. I think. So do we have her back? Let's see. Keisha. Okay. We don't have her back yet. We're still working on it. Stay tuned. And for those of you that were listening to heard about her book, the book is Be the Creator of Your Success, Not a Victim of Your Circumstances. You can get that on her website at www.carsgroup.com. That's KARS group.com. You can go there and grab a copy. She describes it as a strategy guide, and I am a strategy person too, so I love, love, love that. So go there, get that book. We're still trying to get her back. Ah, shoot. Okay, well, in case we don't, I want to tell you about a great program that she's got coming up that includes a Caribbean cruise. I'd love to go on that. So,
Mhm.
Keisha, we got your back.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yay! I love technology, but when you have to depend on it, sometimes it throws a wrench in things.
Yes, as always.
So before it happens again, maybe, I don't know, but in case it happens again and before we wrap up, I want you to tell us about this upcoming event that you have that's happening March 5th, the celebration of release. Tell us about that.
Well, the celebration of release is one where it's actually going to be a virtual event. I decided to change it to a virtual one because there are a number of people that follow me on Facebook and online. And what that is it's a celebration um, of the process of releasing who you are,
Mm,
getting rid of the baggage of who you were expected to be, and then starting that process of releasing who you are at your core, that innermost person that you really want to be.
mm,
And so with that, we start going through some things where we start having you to understand that beginning process of self-discovery and determining the things that are great about you and the self-determination and understanding the things that you want to be. And then self-actualization with actually looking at what are the action steps I need to take in order for me to actually celebrate who I am at my core and to become that person so that I can create the life that I want. So with all of
nice.
that, it's teaching people to love themselves, to celebrate themselves, and to not discount yourself because other people may have a certain image of who they believe you should be.
Yes, that's so tough. That is so tough because I think everybody has that, uh, gets that from other people, that they have this vision of you and because just the nature of being human and wanting to be accepted, we try to live up to that. And that can be so challenging. And like for yourself and for me, it definitely can land you in some severe health challenges. That's one thing. And to begin that process, I like that strategy because I think that a lot of people stay stuck because they don't know what the solution is. They don't know what the strategies are. So they don't even want to look at it because they don't even see a possibility.
Right. They get overwhelmed and you do the paralysis by analysis. Your brain starts
Yes,
going in all these different directions and then you say, you know what, I can't handle it. So you don't do anything. And then you
that's
feel
right.
miserable about the fact that you didn't do anything. So
Hmm.
this whole thing is kind of teaching people to celebrate who they are and because we're so self-critical, but
Yeah,
teaching people to celebrate who you are, to love who you are. And if there are some things that you don't like, change it. You're not a tree. You
that's
can
right.
change, you
That's
know.
right.
So giving them the permission, and one of the things I'm big on is that self-talk and telling people, repeat, I give myself permission to be happy. I give myself permission to be whoever I want to be. I give myself permission to follow my dream. I give myself permission to go back to school because we're seeking validation and we're seeking permission from other people. They're not going to
Yeah,
give it to us. We
that's
have
right.
to start that on our own and within ourselves, and then seek out those people that will be our cheerleaders, but at the same time, understand that that process begins and ends with us.
Absolutely. And it does help. I mean, like you said, seek out those people. Have a self-belief is so
Hmm.
important. That self-talk. I mean, it does all come down to you. You have the power within you to create and change and evolve. But it does help. You just need one other person to believe in you and to
Hmm.
be there and support you. Now, I want to know about the another upcoming event you have that looks awesome.
Yes, it is called the Mastering Me Retreat. And it is actually it's November 11th through the 19th. And we are going to it's one of these things, it's three parts. There's a Mastering Me cohort session. I'm going to do a maximum of 20 women. This is for women, so sorry
Mhm.
guys. Um, At 20 women. And for 90 days, we're going to do Mastering Me strategy sessions where we're going to look at those elements of yourself in terms of discovering who you are. We're going to look at how to determine who you are. We're going to look at your mind movie of success. We're going to look at your personal and your professional plan in terms of where you want to get to and the things that you want to change. Then the part two is we're going to have a mixer and a ladies' night out in Miami, Florida on November 11th,
Ooh.
which is Friday. And then the third part is we're going to take a 7-day cruise to Half Moon Cay, Bahamas, St. Thomas Virgin Islands, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Grand Turk, and Turks and Caicos. And
Oh,
during the
nice.
course of this cruise, we have a couple of on-site Mastering Me strategy sessions with the group. But additionally, I like to do scavenger hunts. And
Oh,
so part of
yes.
this, yes.
Love
So
it.
part of this process is that this is it's a self-discovery process, but the cohort is designed to keep you accountable. They're designed to provide support. So while we're on the cruise, we have a series of scavenger hunts that you're going to have to do and complete. So everybody gets a binder with your scavenger hunt items, and there are things like, okay, if you've identified that one of the main issues you have is trying something new and being open and vulnerable to new experiences, then one of the items on your scavenger hunt is during the course of this trip, you need to find two things that you're going to do that you've never done before.
Mm.
And so everything that we're doing is we're using the environment because you're away from everybody else. You're away from all of your distractions with your family and your friends and your job and all of that. And
And we're
you are
different when we're away.
exactly. And
Yeah.
all you focus on is you. Nobody's requiring you to do anything for them. So we're going to have the scavenger hunts. We're going to meet every night for dinner. We're going to have dinner together as a group, and we're going to unpack and we're going to talk about what we discovered about ourselves, the questions we have, things that we're wrestling with, ways that we can be better and we want to be better. And it's just going to be a bonding session and a way for you to start building that tribe of people who are going to have your back. So the
Mm.
20 women that are going to become fast friends. And this is the third year I'm doing this. Every year
I was
I
just
do a
going to
different.
ask you, yeah, if you've done this before. So this is the third year.
So
Nice.
it's yeah. So we've gone, we've gone different places every time, and I've only done a maximum of 20 people because that's a good number. And the ladies who I've got some women who've gone every year that I've done this. And the ladies who went the first time 3 years ago, they're still in contact with each other and they're still really good friends. And the
Mm.
great thing about it is since we start the process by doing the strategy calls online and virtually and participating in the Facebook group and all of that, before they meet in Miami, most of them have never seen each other before. But
Mm.
the great thing, I mean, we showed up and we have our place where we meet, and after that everybody is like fast friends. It's like we've known each other for years because it's a safe environment, it's a supportive environment, and it's somebody that's not going to let you fall back into the old habits. They're going
Yes.
to be to support you as you go into this journey of mastering me so
Yeah.
that I can become who I want to be. So
People that
everybody's
want
going
to
to
see you
succeed.
succeed. They're not
Exactly.
attached to the outcomes of your life. They're not emotionally involved in what happens because normally whatever happens to us will affect those around us. So it's great to be in a group of people that they're not attached to the outcome or your decisions or anything. They just want to see you succeed.
Exactly. And that's the
I-
great thing about it because everybody that comes in, none of them are related. None of them have any, and part of the thing is I actually go through a screening process. So when register, if you've got people, one year I had a mother and daughter who attended, and I told them, I said, okay, if you're both attending, then you have to understand that you're going to separate your
Mhm.
relationship. And so part of the reason why they actually wanted to attend together is because they needed to work through some issues that they had.
And did
So
it
they
work?
chose, yeah, it actually did.
Okay,
They
good.
said that they said that at the end, because the mother had not seen, she wasn't looking at her daughter as an adult with her own life
Mm.
and all that. She just saw, this is my little kid.
Yeah.
Um, but seeing her daughter in these sessions and going through talking about her dreams and her aspirations and what she wanted to do, she was able to see her as a separate woman. And so that helped because it enabled her daughter to be able to talk to us about what she wanted to do without feeling like she was that she was trying to have to convince her mother.
Yeah.
So her mom got a chance to see other women who were so supportive and who were, applauding her and who were fascinated at her strength and resiliency and the things that she had come through. So with all of that, it actually strengthened their relationship because now they looked at each other as friends instead of just the mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah. That could have gone bad though.
Yeah,
Like the
well, the
mom
thing
had to be
about it is
open.
the great thing about it is because we go through a couple of months of talking and I work with everybody on strategy sessions before we go.
Mm.
I have a chance to kind of nip that stuff and address that early on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very, very mindful of the dynamics of the group as a whole and what I want everybody to come out of it with. So
Nice.
we set our goals in terms of what it is that we're trying to address. And that's one of the reasons why I said, I'd prefer that you came with somebody that wasn't related to you, that didn't live with you, that didn't have, something where you guys were tied together.
Yeah.
And so we worked together for 3 months before we
Nice.
actually.
It's set
So
up a good way. Set up a good way. So if people are interested in that, is there still space available?
yes, I always offer it to the people who have gone before first. And right now I have out of the 20, there are 7 spots that are taken. Um,
Okay.
and I actually just announced it Tuesday. So, yeah,
How do
there's
people
still
learn
space.
about it?
Go to my website at carsgroup.com. There's a little image on the right hand side that says 2016 Mastering Me Retreat. You can click on that image. It gives you all the details about it, and then you can click on it to register. If they want more information if they have any questions, I'm actually going to be setting up a series of video calls and information calls and sessions that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So
Nice.
if they can find me on Facebook and send me a message. They can go to my website and sign up for my email newsletter, and I'll send them an invite to it. But the hub of everything that I do is found on my website and on my pages. So they can always go to my site. They can send me a message. They can schedule a call, whatever they need to in terms of finding out more information. And like I said, I'll be holding these virtual sessions. And so if they can attend, then they can
Hmm.
hear me talk about what it is and they can ask their questions. And if they want a one-on-one, then they can schedule a 15-minute call and we can talk about it from there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I think that sounds like an amazing, amazing experience. I think that, and third year, congratulations on that. Do you plan on doing it every year? For
Well, what
now,
I've
it feels
decided,
good.
for what I've decided to do is the cruise is going to be every other year. I may put a little bit more space between it, but at least, every other year. I'm not going to cruise every year with the group
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
But in
No doubt.
between, I'm going to do some extended weekend mini retreats and we're going to do destinations in different places. So, in 2017, I'm looking at, probably Lake Lanier, Georgia and
Okay.
doing or Hilton Head. So I've got a couple of different destinations in mind, but it'll
Hmm.
be an extended weekend where you show up on a Thursday evening and we're there up until Sunday. And
Nice.
it'll be a shortened version of what it is that we do on the
Mhm.
cruise for the extended. But it'll be something where if you can't get away for an entire week, you can come for an extended weekend and
Yeah.
get kind of an intensive version of the same thing.
Yeah. And I like that. I like a retreat or a weekend away or a week away or something like that because we are different and we're different when we're away. We're taken out of our element so that we can focus on us and it's an immersion. An immersion
Yes.
process is so powerful
Right.
because it's not just a one time thing. And for those that maybe really struggle with, maybe they've tried to make an effort or tried to do something different for themselves, but have had such backlash and that they retreat. Not everybody can go, that's it, like
Mm-hmm.
enough, and have that strength within them to be able to be resilient in coming back saying, no, this is for me. I have to do this
Yep.
for me. So it's nice for those people that really have a hard time doing that, setting the boundaries
Yep.
to be taken out of their element. So God, it sounds like an awesome trip. My
Yeah,
gosh.
I'm really excited. And every time I go, I always try to, find new places for us to be able to go. The first year we went to Grand Cayman Islands and Cozumel. The last time we went to the Bahamas, Nassau and Freeport. This time we've got
Oh,
an awesome itinerary because we go to the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And so
that's
I
one
always
of my
look at,
bucket list places, Turks and
yeah.
Caicos.
So I always, and it's funny because I always pull the women who've gone before and I ask
Yeah.
them, if you could go anywhere, where would you want to go? And then I look at where I want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I try to balance it so it works out. And the great thing about it is, the fees for this, are ones where it's all inclusive. So the hotel is included, the cruise is included, the gratuities, all the
Right.
taxes, the port fees, the strategy sessions, everything is concluded. All you have to do is get to Miami and get back, um, and have money to if you want to go shopping. But when
Yeah.
you're on the boat, everything's done, everything's included, even breakfast, and transportation from the airport into the cruise ship and all of that. So I try to make sure that there's nothing else that you have to think of.
Yeah.
Um, because I know how I am when I travel and I'm very detail oriented. So I try to make sure that the only thing you have to do is I just have to get here. And then I'm on the boat, I'm doing this, I'm focused just on me and what I need to
Yeah.
do. And then I get back.
Exactly. Nice. Nice. So I'm curious. I want to know what could you not live without, Keisha?
Skittles.
Oh, so did you like that Super Bowl commercial with the Skittles with Steven Tyler?
It was funny, but that was just like a complete waste of Skittles. You can't have Skittles on the floor. That just, just
That's
didn't
just
work for
wrong.
me. That's just wrong. That's a complete waste of Skittles that way. Um,
Oh,
but
that's funny.
really, what I can't live without is my me time.
I know.
I have gotten
Like that.
very, very good at I have to have my me time. And and one of the things that I teach, my clients and people I work with, I have this process called rhythm and flow, and it's about understanding your natural rhythm um, so that you can control and set up the flow of your life and your day.
I
So
like
it's
that.
not about time
Flow.
management. It's about understanding when's the best time for you to do certain tasks because we don't have to manage our time. We just have to understand that when is the best time for us to do stuff. So I know that when I'm doing client sessions and strategy sessions, I can't talk to people before 10 in the morning if I need an intense session because it takes a lot out of me. There
Yeah.
are certain days of the week that work better for me. If I'm trying to be creative, there's certain days. So, and I had to learn to schedule me time and I do it in 15-minute increments. So 15 minutes, 4 times a day, usually
Oh, I
in the
like that.
early morning before I get started, around the midday so that I can recharge, early evening, and then before I go to bed.
Okay, so what do you
So
do in that me time? Is it different all the time, or is it one
yeah,
certain thing that you know recharges you?
it's different, depending on where I am. If I'm traveling, or if I'm doing a speaking engagement, or if I'm doing a project, or if I'm at home. If I'm at home, I tend to try to at least during one part of the day, because I love water. So I try to go and sit next to water, whether it's at the beach or it's at a lake or somewhere where I can just sit and watch the water for 15 minutes. That's all I
Mm,
do. Um,
you and me both. We are so similar. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
everything you're saying, so similar. Yeah, I get that. I get that too. That water just does something for me.
Yes. And then what I started doing is because there's sometimes when I was traveling and I couldn't get to water, I have a CD, I kid you not, of ocean waves. So I will play the CD with the ocean waves for 15 minutes.
Nice. Whatever works. Whatever works, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So, and I tell
awesome.
people, I said, you can't read email, you can't watch TV, you can't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it needs to be 15 minutes of quiet for you. Some people write in their journal. Some people just think, but it's really a way, some people meditate.
Yeah.
It's really a way for you to recharge and expel all of the stress and the negative stuff and all the things you're worried about and just clear your mind and reset. So I get a 15-minute reset 4 times a day. And if you think about it, that's only an hour out of your day that you're spending just on you.
And most people go, well, I don't have that much time.
Right. So that's
And
what I do.
I think people, if they tried it for 30 days, they would notice a big difference. But I think there's a lot of people that they wouldn't know what to do with that time. It's like there's certain people that they have to have the TV on all the time, or like they can't just sit quiet. There has to be that element of entertainment because they don't
They
know
can't
what to
help.
do for themselves.
Yeah. And that's why for the people, it's always funny when I do a new class with this and I start and I tell them and they're like, wait, what am I going to do for 15 minutes? Like, no, I
Yeah,
don't have that. So, and I tell them, I said, set a timer on your phone or something, because for a lot of them, 15 minutes will drive them bonkers. After 5 minutes, they're
yeah,
switching. So
yeah.
we have to work them up to 15 minutes increments. Oh, if I only
I
have
believe
15 minutes
it.
at a time. So we set the timer and I give them something to do. Usually I say, I need you to write in your journal. Or I'll tell them, I want you to focus, find a picture of an island or someplace you would love to go and just stare at the photo and imagine yourself there. So I give them certain exercises and things to start doing to
Excellent.
get them into that process. Because, I mean, for somebody like me, like I live according to my calendar and the way my schedule used to be crammed. If I was sitting for more than 5 minutes and wasn't quote unquote productive, then
You
I was
bashed
going to,
yourself.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, oh
you
my God, I
just,
missed all this and I didn't do that. And you know,
yeah,
I was just sick for 27 days and I did nothing but sleep because
yeah,
and I got back out and I was like, hey, I'm not beating myself up. Obviously I needed that.
yeah,
I just rework it. And
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Are you still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I thought we might have lost you again. I thought, oh no, we're just about to
Yeah.
wrap up and I've lost her. Okay, before we go, this time has just flown. You're just so awesome, Keisha. I'm so glad that we had the chance to do this. But I want to finish off with one last. It's not a question, but it's a finish this sentence for me. And I love asking this of people because it really, I like to see what they think. It gives some great insight. So, if you will finish this sentence for me, Keisha A. Rivers Shorty is
A powerhouse.
nice. You are. You are definitely. Since we connected and I've seen all that you do, you are a powerhouse. And I wish you uh, even more success. And I love your story of learning from that difficult time and helping others do the same. And I love your programs. I'm going to check them out even more, and your book. And I love that there are people that inspires me, people like you that put themselves out there to help other people, because we know that there is so much more. And
Hmm.
we've asked ourselves that question and we've gone after it for ourselves. So we know that there is so much more for people. So thank you for what you do and being who you are.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm so happy that we connected. Thank you for having me on the show. I love doing these because, you know, when people look at you and they follow you on social media, especially, um, they see the end. They see where you are now. They
Yes.
don't always get to see the journey. They don't always get to see that, hey, the first time I got up to speak, I almost threw up because I was so nervous. And,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't always like this. I did this.
Mhm.
And really people have to understand that there is a journey that everybody has to take.
Yeah,
You're not always privy to it, but there's a journey. The most successful person that you look at and say, oh my gosh, I wish I could have that person's life. You don't know how they got to where they got to. And
that's right.
so this whole part is me being open with my journey and the process that I went through in order to help people to see, hey, if you look at what I do and you think that what I do is great, you can do the same thing. I've been there. This is what I did that worked for me and that helped me. And hey, let's do this together. Because
Yes,
the
together.
biggest hindrance for people to make a change is that they don't want to do it by themselves. They don't want to be the only one.
That's right.
So it's always about, let's do this together.
That's right.
Let's,
That's,
you know,
yeah,
I got you.
that's
I'm
right.
not
Let's share the good, the bad, the ugly together.
gonna.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And you definitely provide the opportunities for people to do that. That is fantastic. So, for those of you listening, go to CARS Group, that's KARS group.com. Find out about Keisha's book, the program that she has coming up March 5th, the celebration of release. It is virtual, and then you can also find out about the Mastering Me Mastermind and Retreat that includes the cruise. So go and check that out. Reach out to Keisha through her website. Look at all the great stuff she has going on. I'm sure we could have talked for a lot longer. I can't believe the time has gone by so quickly. But you've got some amazing things going on, and no excuse for people that are stuck or don't know what to do. There's things out there, people, and Keisha's got you covered on on a lot of it. So do visit her website, reach out. You can tell. You just listen to her. She's fantastic. She'll talk with you and reach out. She won't bite.
Yeah, I won't
So
bite.
thank you again, Keisha, so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for listening. Reach out to Keisha. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to catch me here next Friday again on Find Your Groove. We always have a great time. I have the best guests ever. So, and again, you can visit my website at lynnburnett.com. Thanks, Keisha. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time, remember, you have the power. Bye-bye.
Bye.